and leading the Dow this week was Walmart, while Caterpillar was the biggest decliner. L Brands was the winner on the S&P this week, and Fluor was the laggard. Mike, that strong finish, is that a bullish signal as we head into next week?
It's bullish in the sense that it could have been worse, right? I mean, I think that the market coming into today was in a position where if it didn't bounce, you really were worried because it was so oversold, it was so stretched. When you go down more than 5% over the course of 2 days, it was really primed for something. I think the encouraging part was that the market didn't take the opportunity to fade into the weekend. So I think really it's better that you closed closer to the highs than the lows, but the verdict is not in just yet for this little phase.
Yeah, Barbara, first positive day of the week. Managed to finish strong, almost 300 points higher. What does that tell you?
Well, I think the rally, we're having a little bit of a post bounce after the market being very oversold. I think the rally can continue. Whether it continues next week in a straight line, I'm not sure about that, because I think investors now have to wait for earnings and hear each of the company managements what they're saying, what they're seeing in terms of their costs, whether it's wages or the dollar or trade tariffs, and what's going to happen to margins. And I think that a lot of companies probably will guide a little lower, but I don't think it's going to drop off a cliff. And so when I think we get reassurance that earnings are intact, the economy is booming and should continue into next year, I think the rally will continue. And we could have a midterm rally bounce. So
heading into? Coming out up.
Hard to say.
All right. Well, I mean, Evan often talks about being 50% in cash, so you must have put a ton of that to work. The S&P got down 7% off.
No. I'm waiting for more than that. Maybe I'm being a little greedy, Mike, but that's not enough for me. You know, the only other time I bought was, I think it was in February. We had that really steep thing, steep down, and I think I probably bought it around, I want to say 2,600. Does that sound probably right? That was probably the low for the year, thereabouts.
Closer.
It doesn't feel great to me. I was surprised that it closed as strongly as it did. I kind of sense a little bit, Mike, you were a little surprised also about the strong close.
I think it's almost a coin flip on days like this, right?
Well,
I mean, we couldn't move 1% either way for 3 months.
But the weird thing is that I think the market is pricing in a very good earnings season. I think there'll probably be more. You're more likely to get negative reactions from earnings than you are positive reactions. Because I think
with the big sell-off this week?
Yeah, I think so. I think you probably have a number of CEOs who will use this opportunity to guide down, even though they may not really be seeing it yet. But they may go, what do I have to lose? I'll guide down a little bit just to soften expectations in the future, because I don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. I don't know what's going to happen with the trade war. And because I don't know what's going to happen, better off being conservative here. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of super bullish commentary, and I think you saw that today from the banks. You didn't really hear from the banks, oh yeah, everything's going gangbusters, everything's glorious, and I still am kind of bearish in large measure because of the financials, and the financials have been really super weak, which has been odd, I think.
So take the other side of that, because I know you disagree, Barbara, and then so how do you explain the action in financials?
Well, except that I don't disagree that I think the companies will be guiding down, but I don't think it's going to be dramatic. And I think where the market was not overvalued, in my view, before this drop, and now obviously it's a much more attractive valuation. So I think Evan's right, we're going to swish around, but I don't think we're going to see further downside. If we do, it's not going to be, much more. So I think once we get through that, I think the market will continue to rally. So, I don't disagree with what the companies are going to say. And that's why I think they will reset lower.
The other theme has obviously been, finally, are these huge growth stocks that everybody fell in love with for so long, are they giving back a lot of their gains? Is it just kind of a stutter step in that growth move? I know, Barbara, you focus on some of these.
Yeah, I do. I'm a big growth stock investor, and obviously it's been of concern, because are we really seeing the beginning of a major rotation out of growth and into value, which means growth will not outperform for some time? But the fact is, the way the growth has gotten hammered, if you look at, Facebook has particular issues, but that's down 30%, or Amazon down 17%, and a lot of these names, a lot of it's profit taking, which is totally understandable. But that has not changed their secular growth stories. This is still, a huge tailwind in terms of what's going on in this economy. So, but it is a question, are we going to see a major asset allocation into a different style?
I think you're still waiting. I'll kind of know when you get the big correction, when you really get the flush on the Adobes, the Salesforces, the Amazons, Netflix. Those are still up a lot this year. I don't know what Amazon's numbers are, but it was up 60% or so probably before this week. It must be up, 45, 50% still? I don't know exactly.
It's like 15%.
Yeah, okay. Whatever the number is. But basic cash flow math.
By the way, Amazon closed up 4% today.
Basic cash flow math says when interest rates go up, terminal values of these high growth stocks go down, and these stocks should go down a lot more. So if you start seeing the 10-year creep higher, 3.5%, maybe as much as 4%, like Jamie Dimon said earlier today, you should see significant downdrafts in the Salesforces, Adobes, Netflixes of the world. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Momentum names?
The momentum names that trade at ridiculously high multiples. And I would kind of know that you're really going through a real correction if you see that happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but then you would, that for me would be an important